Well, good morning. Babies.
Good morning. Good morning, everyone. If it is comfortable for you, please just settle into your seat. And take a nice deep breath, knowing that you're in the most loving place. My meditation today is from the Science of Mind, page 536. And lower your eyes or close your eyes if it's comfortable for you. The house of love. I dwell in the house of love. My dwelling place is filled with peace and eternal calm. Love attends me in my home of the soul. And joy awaits upon me in the secret place of the Most High. My house is built for me by the hand of love. And I shall never leave this home of the Spirit, for it is always present. I shall abide in this home forevermore. My house is a house of love. Please join me in saying, and so it is. Namaste. Let's sing. Use me, oh God, I stand for you, and here I'll abide as you show me all that I must do. I used to think God was the sun, God is the sun, God so much more than the earth or the stars or all of creation. God is creator, all in all, and needing us to shine His light as me, as you. So use me, oh God, I stand for you, and here I'll abide as you show me all that I must do. Command my hands, command my hands. What must they do? Command my life. It's here for you. God is the love that heals all creation. God is creator. He makes all things new. And God needs us to shine His light as me and as you do. So use me, so cute. Oh God, I stand for you, and here I'll abide as you show me all that I must do. Show me all that I must do. Please show me all that I must do. You are the face of God. I hold you in my heart. You are a part of me. You are the face of God. You are the face of God. I hold you in my heart. You are my family. You are the face of God. You are my family. You are my family. You are the face of God.
Before we enter into prayer, I wanted to let everyone know that Reverend Dan's adult son unexpectedly made his transition this week.
Oh no.
And so I know that as I speak in the first person this morning in prayer, not only for our center and the service, but for Reverend Dan and his family, that my words are truly your words. And we ask that we just hold Dan in prayer and his family in prayer and love, but that we keep our thoughts and prayers private right now until we're told that he's ready to receive our love by text or phone or anything. So, okay, you've got this. So if everyone just lower and close your eyes. And I know that there is absolutely one power, one presence, one divine love. And I know that it is expressing itself as peace, as love, as divine well-being. I know that the love of God is fully expressing itself in and as all, through every experience. And I know that this love surrounds each person, not only that can hear my voice, but our community, our world. I know that we are the way that God expresses love and peace and harmony. And it is through us that that love is magnified. And so right now, I claim for Reverend Dan and for his family that all is in divine right order, that they are surrounded and uplifted by the compassion of God that shows up as every friend, as every family member, as each and every person that is surrounding them and involved in this time of mourning, that each person is there by divine appointment to uplift, to support, to love. Reverend Dan, his family, his son are all the divine. And whether they are here in this plane or the next, the truth is, life is eternal. And so I easily know that the peace, the joy, the love that we are is felt by Reverend Dan and his family right here and right now. And I also know that that truth is taking place here at the Las Vegas Center for Spiritual Living, and that the peace and the love and the joy that we are is being fully expressed in this service this morning, that each of us are guided and directed to our greatest yet to be. And it is through the words of Reverend Wanda that inspire and uplift us, through the music this morning that touches our heart, through the ministry of prayer that always uplifts this community in love and prayer. For each volunteer, for each person that has had any part of making this service a service of love, including every congregant that found their way here today, I know that we are truly blessed. And so for all the good that is taking place right here and right now, for the way in which love and joy is expressed fully, I am so grateful. And so it is with ease and grace that I release my word to that perfect action of the law, knowing it is absolutely done right here and right now. So join me in saying,
and so it is.
Well, Reverend Dan has us. He would want us to sing, I know that. He would want us to have some fun.
Yes, I can do all the good that the world needs, and the world needs all the good that I can do.
morning, Las Vegas. And I remain standing because we're all going to say Pledge Allegiance to the flag. I just want to say, for those of you who are here for the first time, this is a rather unusual service because we have none of our 3 senior ministers here today. So I am Kitty Schuler, and I'm the practitioner here, and I'll be helping to lead the service this morning along with Reverend Wanda, who will be giving the message. So let's turn and look to the flag and say, I bless America and the rest of the world. And let the people around you know by big, big hugs. Hugs and loves all around. Hug those little animals. They need all the love you can give them. Speaking of love, we all in our hearts, I know, feel such love for Reverend Dan. And we just need to remember, and I certainly was reminded again this morning, that his son Tommy is free and is still eternally always with Dan and with God. So I just want to make sure everybody realizes that. And as Lauren said, he's requesting no calls, and he will get back to us. So
You came on the most perfect day. I found this lady, she found us. It was a match made in heaven. Please listen to her luscious voice. Please welcome, I want to say it right, Lvcsl. Gorgeous Rochelle.
Good morning, family. Good morning. This song says, I'm going to be ready. Or I'm going to be ready, but I'm going to be ready. Whatever the Master wants for me to do, I want my heart to be open and ready. You guys are getting ready. Every night
like Reverend Dan does. Doing okay. Okay, the other thing is Reverend Stacy asked me to say something today too about, she said, this is in honor of Reverend Dan. She says, you know how we hear about all this bad lettuce that's going around now? Everyone, we just need to remain calm. I had to do it. Well, now you're in for a treat. Reverend Wanda.
Good morning. Good morning. One of my friends surprised me by showing up today, here. He lives way on the other side of town. And he said, I didn't know you were speaking. And I said, nor did I. So I want to welcome everybody who managed to come to church. Many are still laid out probably, right? Yeah. After overeating for Thanksgiving. And I wondered if we might also take a moment to think about one aspect, and I know there are many, including Reverend Dan's sense of humor, of the beautiful gifts that he has given us over the years. And at the right time, please let him know about that. There are so many blessings in this beautiful life that we have. Now, this month, the theme for Global Centers for Spiritual Living is about what? Fear. Freedom from fear. It's not about how to have fear. You already know, you mastered that part. Okay, so in Ernest Holmes, the founder of Science of Mind, he basically says that to learn how to think is to learn how to what? To live. So it is a requirement of living that we are thinking people, we are thinking individuals. To learn how to live, learn how to think. How many feel that you think for yourselves? Okay, 4 people, 5, 6, that's it. I think we have more than that here. So I want to give you some ideas to think about regarding this particular topic of the month, freedom from fear. And error thinking, that's the other part, and error thinking. So the week one, we talked a little bit about the fruits of good and evil. Were you here for that? Mm-hmm. All right. And the core idea was the notion in the Science of Mind, we don't accept duality. We don't believe in two powers. We believe in what? One power, one presence, one absolute authority. It's one. And we believe in unity. So that was the message for that particular week. Then week 2, we talked about fear and punishment. Does that sound like our message? Does it? No, that's not the message. This idea that we are punished for our errors, our error thinking, or our, some call sins, that is not what we believe. We believe that we get the consequences of our actions. Is that right? Yeah. And sometimes it feels like punishment, doesn't it? Does it? Yes. But so that is the way we begin to think. Reward, punishment, duality. That's not the message. That's not the message. But sometimes, it feels that way, doesn't it? Sometimes it feels that way. So we want to begin to open up to some other ideas. Now, week 3, they talked about the blind leading the blind. What happens to the blind leading the blind? They fall into it. She said a pit. Okay. Yeah, the blind leading the blind. Okay. So that idea was trying to make something new from an old consciousness. The Bible talks about what? Pouring new wine in old... What'd you say? Wineskins. Okay. So we're talking about we can't get what we're seeking if we don't change our thinking, if we don't change our attitude about what? The world? Ourselves. So change your thinking, change your life. All right. So that brings us now to this week. And this week was talking about transference. And as many of these topics, I say, what? And I don't know if you're familiar with that term or not, but it's a psychological term. And the idea of counseling, many people have been to psychological counseling or know somebody who has or is recommending somebody, maybe somebody that you had a Thanksgiving dinner with, that maybe they might really want to try that. I know. But this idea is that we have mental and emotional baggage, experiences, history, whatever you want to call that, from our early childhood programming. And usually it comes from a parental kind of individual, someone that's serving in that capacity. And as a child who is new to this experience in the world, we look up to them. Is that correct? Yeah, for a while, until at least we get to be teenagers, then, then all bets are off because we know everything. And they know nothing. So here we are, this idea of transference, mental and emotional. All right, now how many of you still are doing things, maybe the cooking recipes or the holiday decorations that you learned from your family of origin? Is that right? Right. So there are many things that we treasure and we want to keep passing on throughout the generations. But I want to suggest to you that our power isn't one of them. When I was a child, I did childish things. But now that I became an adult, I've learned how to think for what? Myself. And that's what that's about. So what was, I'm going to say, necessary at a certain time in our growth and development and our human experience may not always serve us well now. May not always serve us well now. So what do? What do we do about that? Some people have transferred their power. They have. To an authority figure, to someone that seems like they have the power in our lives. Maybe it's a spouse, maybe it's an employer, maybe it's a government official, maybe it's a holy book. But somehow, sometimes, mentally and emotionally, we've given the power that is ours away. And then we wonder why we feel like we're being punished, or why things aren't working out the way we believe. We gave that away. Very common. And many times, and stick with the idea of transference and the idea of therapy. What happens with that is, the theory is we're going to unlearn everything and we're going to go back to the beginning. Now, sometimes I don't even remember everything from last week, let alone the beginning. See? There's already an error of thinking there. And we transfer that power to the counselor, the therapist, the authority figure. And yet, we're saying we don't believe in, as religious scientists, we don't believe in duality. We believe in one power, one presence, one absolute authority that operates at the level of my belief and acceptance. And so what are we going to do about getting the power back? That's the idea of transference. We've given that away, but how do we reclaim that? All right, well, there's some things that we definitely can do and that we definitely teach. And I'm going to say that mentally and emotionally, to come fully into the truth of who you are, your dream, your desire, your skills, the loves in your life, you've got to own who and what you are. Is that right? Not necessarily what somebody else thinks that you want to be. In the Science of Mind, we believe in what we believe, it says, by Ernest Holmes. We believe in the direct revelation of the truth. Through what? The newspapers? No! Through the television? No. Through the intuitive spiritual nature, our intuitive spiritual nature. Knowing. And there's certain things that we teach in classes to help us remember those things. Okay, so let's think about that for a minute, because that's the transference. That's the breaking the transference. So how do we break free of fear and error thinking? How do we begin to actually believe in the power, inner power, and our connection to that, rather than the idea of duality, rather the idea of fear? Now, people experience fear, correct? Yes. Is fear good? Is it bad? Is it ugly? Could it be good? Yes. Suppose danger was coming. Would that be helpful to get an alert? Yes. Yeah. It serves its purpose, perhaps. What happens, though, sometimes is that fear that isn't danger's coming, run for the hills. The fire's coming, run, take cover. That's not what I'm talking about. Because I think there's a place in it. And it's really called fight or flight in terms of psychology. There's sometimes it's time to get out. You just don't wait and see if the fire's surrounding you. You figure it out and get moving to shelter. Okay. Some say fear stands for false evidence appearing real. So sometimes our pathological fear looks like facts to us. And we then act on that as though it were the fight or flight response. So that is what we want to talk about. We want to talk about how do we get free from that which we do not need and that which we need to embrace. How do we know the difference? And that's a good question. How do we get there? How do we know? And you say, well, hey, there may be some facts, Reverend Wanda. I mean, you might think, hey, well, there's some people that look better. I'll go with me. Some people, I may think they look better than me. Or maybe they're better educated. Or maybe they do have some facts that I don't have, that I want to have. Sometimes people are more socially connected or talented. But there's a but. And it's a big but. You are one of a kind. Your connection with the Creator, your connection with God is the same. You have the same access as any other being. Yes, you do. Are you using it to the same degree as everybody else? Maybe, maybe not. Because you thought you were separate. You thought somebody else, a Father knows best. You thought something was missing within you. And I want to say that that's error thinking. Right here and right now, you have absolutely everything you need to be, know, and have, to be who you are divinely intended to be. One with God is the majority. You are one in a million. The one in the million you. So we say, well, how do I get that level of confidence? How do I get there from here? Is it too late for me? Should I have done this? Why didn't you have this conversation with me 30 years ago? See? In the truth about eternal life, you have eternity to do your work. Eternity to do your work. But first, it may be helpful to break free of some of those error thinking, earlier thinking, I'm going to say hang-ups. Break free of that transference where you gave your power. It was a good idea maybe when you were learning to walk, but now you can actually, drive a car, maybe drive a boat, maybe fly a plane. You don't need the same thing, do you? Do you? No. And people around you don't need for you to be less than who you are. To hold back on your love, hold back on your passion, hold back on the expression of your gifts. The gift of life is always giving. I say, but I'm afraid. And I say, do it anyway. If something is getting your attention from within, there is something there for you. There's something there for you. And I think that's really important because a lot of times we think, oh no, my time has passed. Is that right? I know one woman who, in her young life, she was actually in the school of ministry with me, and she had wanted to be an actress. She really loved that. But she got married. She married a very wonderful man. They had beautiful children, including a set of twins. And she went into the ministry and did all these other things, bought a beautiful house, all these things where she was going to live happily ever after. Doesn't that sound good? Yeah, who wouldn't want that? That was her dream. And he made his transition. She was so shocked. She told me that was not the plan. And it wasn't. And so she ultimately did. She sold a house. And she ultimately went to live with one of her children. And now she's in community theater. We can have all the things, all the blessings, all the love that we can embody and accept. And it comes in our time with the awareness that our time is God's time. And God's time expressing through you is now. Is now. Is now. So if you're afraid, don't worry about it. Just do it anyway. There's nobody that doesn't know what fear is in terms of take another step. Take a new step. Take a chance. But the risk of not taking it is what? You said sad? Yeah, and it's the same old thing that you didn't like anyway. See? The same old thing that you were tired of anyway. One person said, if you think you can and you think you can't, you're correct. Either way, you're correct. I remember Terry Cole Whitaker. Does anybody remember Terry Cole Whitaker? One of the things that stuck in my mind from Terry Cole Whitaker, she would challenge people. And one of the things that she would say would be, do you want to be happy? Or do you want to be what? Right. And sometimes it'd be something to think about. Do you want to be happy or do you want to be right? And there's times I go, I don't know. You know, if I'm telling the truth, if I'm really honest, sometimes being right, you know, feels pretty good. But how about if you're being right about the wrong thing? Oh, we didn't think about that. Didn't think about that. And so stop proving, you know, that you're limited and scarce and your time is gone and all these other kind of things. Because that's not the teaching. The challenge is to own your power and be true to yourself. Your higher self is trying to get your attention. Even now, I know it. Somebody's here right now. And they're waiting. They're waiting for that love of their life. They're waiting for that ideal job. They're waiting to publish that book or to write that article or to stand up and speak out. So no more waiting. Here's the invitation. God is calling you. Won't you answer yes? Won't you answer yes? One with God is the majority. You're not alone. And if you accept love, kindness, and friendship, you can have all the love, all the friendship right here with your center of spiritual living family. Whether you're a first-time visitor or you come every Sunday, this is the place. We have the place for you. You're welcome, you're wanted, and you're loved. Now, one author said this. It's about thinking. If you think you are beaten, you are. If you think you dare not, you don't. If you like to win, but you think you can't win, it's almost certain you won't. If you think you'll lose, you're already lost. For out in the world, we find success begins with a fellow's will. I guess we could say our gal's will. It's all in your state of mind. God bless you and thank you for being here with us today.
Reverend Wanda, you are so funny. She's tremendous, but you're so funny. I look up on YouTube when you're speaking because I love to rewatch you. I love it. So just to let you know, we are on YouTube, Lvcsl, so look us up. We are there, and she is just tremendous. Thank you for being here, Reverend Wanda. And thank you, Rochelle, for being here. Please give this beautiful day another hand. Rochelle,
oh, amazing, Reverend Wanda. I'm going to tell you, my husband told me about 6 weeks ago, he says, I want you to learn this song. I'm like, oh. As you know, I practiced for months on a song. But it was for a purpose, because it went with your message. So God is so good, isn't He? You never give up. That's what it's called, never give up. Amen. Work on it. She looks just like me, too afraid to dream out loud. Though it's simple, I hear it won't make sense to everybody. Give me courage now, you wanna persevere. To find purpose, you gotta answer when you're called. So don't be afraid to face the world against the odds. Keep the dream alive, don't let it die. With something deep inside keeps inspiring you to try. Don't stop and never give up. Don't ever give up on you. Don't give up. Every victory comes in time. Work today to change tomorrow. It's easier. You can say that you can't fly. Every step you take gets closer to your destination. Can you feel it now? Don't you know you're almost there? To fail, yeah, you gotta answer when you're called. So don't be afraid to face the world against the odds. Keep the dream
in, and I do want to remind you all, we need 500 of these little animals. 500 of them. So bring them to church so we can hug them all up. We're going to collect them today. We want 100 more next week and 100 more. We only got 2 more weeks. So we need 500 of these guys. And sign up on the happenings table as well, because I need to know how many words to get for people. So I forgot to say that. Okay, bring the
Sing
kids
it.
in. Sing those.
In the name of love, in the name of love.
Here comes our first kid.
In the name of love, in the name of love, in the name of love, in the name of love.
You never looked so beautiful up here.
Good morning. Good morning. Today we talked about problems or pickles. And we learned how to solve them, and we learned how to stay calm. One thing we learned is if we're having a problem or something that we're having a hard time dealing with, we can hold both our hands to our heart and say, I am peace, I am love, and repeat it until you feel calm. Another way is we thought if you're worried about something and a scary thought's coming to your mind, you can close your eyes and think of a magical place that you would like or you can dream of, and you can always think of it, and you can think that you're safe and you can have whatever you want, and it can be any place, and you can have 2 guardian angels watching over you.
That was great. Thank you so much, Kathy. You're welcome. Okay, if we could have all our ministers and our visiting ministers, visiting practitioners, and our ministry prayer team, please come join me.
If you will, stand and connect. Just want to remind you that all these people standing here, part of this community, are here to serve and support. So 1 minute miracle, private conversation, just step right up, not right this minute. But before you go, don't leave with a heavy heart. So let's just celebrate inwardly the renewed awareness of who we really are, in spirit and in form. Realizing that we are taking a stand right now for the greatness of our own lives, for the spreading of this healing message of the science of mind, where we know that visions and dreams are coming true, being fulfilled, even now. And so as we go about our day, our week, we do so empowered, letting our light shine everywhere we go, knowing that as we go with God, we are being that healing presence for ourselves and everybody in harmony with this thought. And so we say, and so it is.
Yes, there is peace on earth, and now it begins with me. Yes, there is peace on earth, a peace that was meant to be. With God as our power, love runs
my mind.
I know it's in my mind.
I feel it in my body.
I feel it in my body.
And so